I'm going to demonstrate the iPad app that we've created for our oil and gas CRM product. Before I jump into that, I want to just let you know a little bit about Ledgeview Partners and the fact that we do CRM. CRM is all we do, and we do it in Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and we also do it in Salesforce.com. Our particular oil and gas CRM product is built on the Microsoft Dynamics CRM platform, and then we developed our own mobile app which runs on the iPad for our CRM product that we created. So without further delay, let's jump right into the iPad app and show you some of the features of that. So I'm going to change my screen so you can actually see my iPad screen here. Okay, so what you're doing is you're looking at my iPad, and what I'll do is I'll use my mouse as often as I can to kind of show you where I'll be tapping on my iPad. So once you download the app, you get an icon that looks like this, and I'm just going to tap on that. So when I open this up, it just opens up the app. I'm going to just let you know a few things of our strategy when we built the app. Based on our feedback from our customers, we had a couple of criteria. Folks wanted to be able to use CRM in the field on a mobile device. Using an iPad was our biggest need, so we built it on the iPad. They wanted to be able to use it anytime, anywhere, and have it be super fast, so they could just be rock solid productive out in the field. So the concept we came up with, or our strategy, is to work offline. So what you're looking at here is my CRM on an iPad app, but the data is stored right on my iPad. And so the key here is at least once a day, you're going to want to sync back to CRM. So all your hard work is stored then back in the CRM database. And also when you do the sync, any changes that were made on the CRM side are going to be pushed back down to your iPad. So we recommend, at least once a day to sync. And as you look up on top, it looks like it's been a few days since I sunk. So it actually shows me in red that, hey, I haven't did the sync for a few days. So I could click right here, actually, tap right here, and I could go into the sync. Or down below on our navigation bar, I'm just going to kind of slide over. And there's a spot here to sync. And I'm not actually going to run the sync. It actually takes a couple minutes each day. But that's all that happens is you get this screen, and then I would tap this, and it would start to copy files back and forth. So obviously, when you're planning on doing the sync, you do have to be hooked to the internet, probably through a wireless connection. But other than that, you do not need to be hooked to the internet. You can use this anytime, anywhere, and it's fairly fast. So with that being said, just a little bit about some of the navigation, as I kind of pointed out on the bottom here, is that kind of our main navigation. I started out on the home page, and what it does is it shows me a couple charts, gives me some information about my opportunities and about all my activities in CRM. This is very configurable, meaning I can hit this gear here, and behind this gear are a number of choices for charts you might want to display here. And again, the same thing behind this gear, and then behind this gear are options on what you'd want in each of these areas. So you can configure what you want your home page to look like. There's a, what I'll say, somewhat of a global search. I could type something in here, and it will search leads, accounts, contacts, and opportunities for a match, and it'll give you a choice. Once you have that list, you can just tap into one. The other main thing I want to point out, just to be careful with some other mobile applications that are out there, is we are not just into viewing the data. You are able to maintain the data and add records. So, when you think about contacts, if you get a new contact, I could go in here to contacts and I could add a new contact. I could update somebody's email address. So let's just do that real quick. I'll just tap on contacts. I could search for one, but just to save you some time, I'll just pick Alice here. If I picked Alice and I maybe hadn't had her email address filled in, I could go right here and just tap that. I'm not going to waste my time typing it in, but if I tap that, it pulls up the keyboard just like, the iPad works. I could type in her email address, close out of that, and then just hit save. And now her email address is on her contact record on my iPad, and then when I sync, that email address would get populated up into CRM. So once you've opened up a record, there is whatever navigation you can do is either up on top or down below. So related to a contact, I could add activities, I could add notes to this contact, I could make any changes to the data and save it, and then down here, I can link to the things that are tied to this contact. I could look at the open activities for them, the closed activities, notes, quotes, and I could get a map. If I had an address in here, I would map out, where they're located. So I'm just going to go back, hit the back button here, and maybe I'll just go into accounts next, just to show you kind of the same concept. It gets a little bit more in depth on accounts, because obviously more things can be tied to accounts, but I'll just search for somebody real quick. And I'll just open up Fairview Manufacturing. And within here, obviously, a lot more things are tied to an account. I could look at the order history, which is the invoice data for this account. So, maybe I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting to visit them. Well, when's the last time they purchased something from me? What did they buy? How much did they pay? All of that is very valuable information. I have dashboards I can configure for this account. I could look at the open opportunities, quotes, again, activities. What else is in here? Notes, contacts, competitor share wallet, a 12-month product summary of the purchases they've had over the last 12 months, summarized by the product they bought the most of down to the product they bought the least of. So that's all viewing it, but again, from here I could add an activity. So I just visited with them. I want to record the sales call I just had. I could add a note. I could create a new opportunity. I could add a contact. Add some competitor share wallet. Seems like opportunity management is probably a big E for most of you. So I could tap here on opportunities, get my list of opportunities. I just went and visited with them. I could maybe open up this bottom one. This is what we talked about today. And now I'm managing this opportunity. Anything on the left, I can scroll up here and update maybe my estimated value for this opportunity. If I just finished that first appointment, I could change this to a yes. I had the first appointment and go to the next stage. So pretty much maintaining my data in CRM on my iPad. I would say we kind of cut things off at quotes. Quotes are a little bit more intense, so we do not do quote. You can look at a quote, but you can't manage, create, or maintain a quote, from your iPad. You'd have to do that directly in CRM. So let's just jump back to make sure I've covered enough of the main features of this application. So the basics, there is a territory management feature here, so you can plot your accounts on a map. You can even go in and say, compared to where I'm at right now, if you are hooked to the internet, and your iPad knows where you're at, show me all my customers who are near me, and maybe I can, quick make a stop. Accounts, contacts, opportunities. Oh yeah, lead management. So you can add leads, qualify leads, do all that right from here. We talked about activities, dashboards. There's a sync. And then if you need any technical help, we have a settings section we might need you to go into if you're having difficulties, and there's also just some help to kind of describe the app in a little bit more detail. So I think that's enough. Working offline is the key, very productive. I've heard things from our current customers, words like, this is a game changer, our team is so much more productive. They don't have to wait till they get back to the office or try to fire up their laptop to, make a change to CRM. Having it on the iPad is very simple, very efficient, very effective, and it's been a very popular module within our oil and gas CRM product. Okay. So just a quick jump back to the PowerPoint just to wrap things up here. If I can get back to, let's see here, let's minimize this guy. Okay, here we go. All right, so just a quick wrap up on Ledgeview and then maybe next steps. So CRM is all that we do. Here's a few facts about us. We're like I said, Microsoft Dynamics CRM and Salesforce. We have lots of expertise in the oil and gas industry, and again, our finished product focuses completely on that. So a few facts here about our company. We're in Appleton, Wisconsin, lots and lots of customers. So if you like what you saw and want to take a deeper dive or have any questions, you can reach out to Kevin Brown, who's our main gentleman on our side who focuses from an account executive perspective with our oil and gas customers. So feel free to reach out to Kevin. There's his contact information. Hopefully this short video was helpful. Shows you kind of the cool things we've done with the iPad. Thanks so much for listening. Have a wonderful day.